I'm like, oh, dead in the middle of the double stuff, so I might include that. I hope so. I like that sword. I like it rough. There you go. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. You are doing the Lord's work. Never change. Thank you. Great river. Very lucky. Thank you. So just a little background on this session. There are 2 tables of PLO running. I begin with a seat in the absolute worst game in history. Very little action, lots of grinders and nits. Just terrible all around. I put in for a seat change to the second game, which to put it mildly is much livelier. So the first couple of hands will be at the tighter table before we get moved. The straddle at $10 is on, and we're on the button holding King King, Queen 10 unsuited. There's 2 callers, and we come along as well. The small blind and big blind call, the straddle checks his option, and we go 6 ways to a flop, which falls Queen 7-5 with 2 hearts. Early position bets half pot of 30, and we decide to peel 1 with position, hoping to hit another queen or turn top 2 pair. We go heads up to a turn, which falls the jack of clubs. He again only bets 30 here, a pretty weak bet. We've turned an open-ended straight draw and decide to keep our range wide and just call. And you could believe we're the ones chasing a flush draw by the way we've played it, so if we hit a good river that isn't a heart, he may think we missed and continue putting money into the pot. If we were out of position against this opponent facing a similar bet, we might opt to check raise him instead, but having position in any game of poker is huge, and we're going to take advantage of it here. The river falls the 6 of spades. He checks, and I don't think I can squeeze much value out of him, and I opt to take my showdown value, expecting to have the best hand the majority of the time. But to my surprise, my opponent turns over ace-ace, 9-6, and he's going to take this one down. The $10 straddle is on from under the gun, and we're in early position holding Queen-Queen, Jack-10, Rainbow, and we come along. The cutoff, button, and big blind call, and the straddle checks his option. We're going 5 ways to a flop, which is Queen 9-6 with 2 clubs. We flop top set and an open-ended straight draw, plus we have a blocker to the flush draw. We could bet here, but since we're in early position, we're hoping someone behind us will try to take that hill, and we check it over. We're not disappointed as the button bets the pot of 50. It folds to us, and in most games I'll check raise in this spot, but in this tighter game I decide to slow play it, just making the call. The turn is the jack of spades. It's not the greatest turn, as now if our opponent has King 10 or 10-8, he's just outdrawn us, but we do have a 10 blocker in our hand. Still, given the flush draw didn't come in, we opt to check, making it look like that is what we were chasing, expecting the button to bet big to try and push us off the flush draw he'll expect we're on. Unfortunately, he doesn't take the bet, checking behind. The river is the 4 of spades, a total brick, so now we decide to bet for value with our top set. Our opponent's check behind on the turn means he doesn't have the goods, and our big river bet may look like a flush draw that whiffed, and that's trying to take advantage of his turn check. We bet 150, but unfortunately he lets it go, and we take a small one down. Okay, we've finally gotten our seat in the crazy game. The $10 straddle is on, under the gun +1 calls, and we come along with ace-jack, 9-8, double suited in diamonds and clubs. The player behind us immediately raises it to 50, and immediately gets 2 callers. Now the small blind shoves all in for 215, the big blind shoves for 165, the straddle cold calls 215, the player under the gun +1 calls 215, and we consider shoving, but figure our hand plays well multi-way as well, and we can hopefully see a flop before committing the rest of our stack, so we just call. The raiser and 2 players behind call as well, and we're going 8 ways to a flop for $215 each. The flop falls ace-6-5 rainbow. When it checks to me, I've flopped top pair, a gut shot straight draw, and backdoor clubs. It's not amazing, but given I have under half a pot size bet left, we go with it, shoving all in for $645. Oh, I'm sorry, it's on me? I really didn't. All in.
He's watching a movie, man. Give me
I got more money in my pocket.
Anthony did have more money in his pocket. He didn't realize how much he was gonna need it.
One for $645.
$645. I got some running.
All $645.
I always go twice, whatever you guys want to do.
One time.
He's only going once. Okay. An opponent who covers me decides to make the call, and they only want to run it once. The turn is the 10 of hearts, the river the 5 of spades, and our opponent reveals ace king jack 4, having us outkick. We also got to look at one of the short stack shove with preflop as he turns over 7-6-5-2 suited in hearts to his 5.
Ace
king.
Let's get ace of hearts, jack of hearts, king of clubs,
You got the
4 of
main.
spades.
You got the main.
Oh, there you go.
You got the main.
Green.
This hand is absolutely bonkers. It's been straddled and re-straddled the maximum, with the button having put out $320 for their straddle. We're in the big blind and look down at 9-8-6-5, suited in diamonds to our 6. We decide to lay it down, but we do film the action for the vlog. Here we go.
The 870 straddle is on.
I'm not in the hand, but I'm going to film it for the vlog.
Oh, it's not an 870 hand, it's not a $15 hand.
I got a hand too.
Alright, let me help you out here. Oh, God.
Because I got the option. I'm not.
Oh, you don't think
Here,
It would've
check
won.
the action down here.
I'm all in.
You're good, you're good, you're good.
I'm all in.
See, that's what I'm saying. I'm not even going to look at my hand. I got it. See, they got too much money.
It's a good poker game, man.
It is. It's a very good game. But it's nerve-wracking for me. Come on with the major ones. Get it in.
Hey!
So this shit was re-straddled to 320.
3, 4,
The biggest straddles all got it in.
Alex, you looked already?
You know I didn't look at
What,
mine.
how would you say your hand is? Scale of 1 to 10, how good is your hand?
6 what?
Under?
Under
Oh, you
seven.
need under
Lift
7.
your hand.
I'm trying to get you right.
You got the direct hand. You got the direct hand.
I'm saying it.
Put it on the side.
All right, that's what you got on the
Three
side.
times. 3 times. Right? 3 balls.
3 boards. You can't be 3 boards out there.
Boards, yeah, come on, bro.
I don't know.
We got
But I
places
got.
to be.
Let me see if this, I'm just gonna turn one card because I ain't looking. Damn.
That's not
That's the key card right there. Here comes deuce, 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 baby.
Oh,
It's
there's
coming.
the king. Looks good.
Uh-oh. Let's watch the reaction of the players. There it is. There it is. You got him?
All right, I got king
You got a lot of
so
outs,
far.
man. You got a shit lot of outs against that here.
Set of deuces is good. What does he have right now?
8. One pair.
Hey.
One pair of kings with a queen kicker.
King, deuce.
It's so sick. I don't got nothing. Just a pair of my hands. He wins it all.
Hiya!
Ouch.
Easy game.
So sick. $40
The very next hand, the craziness has only slightly subsided as the $160 straddle is on. We're in the small blind with 9-8-6-2 suited in diamonds to our 9. Easy fold, and now we'll just sit back and watch the madness unfold. Let's see what action ensues.
Almost.
Oh my god. Yeah.
If it was 2, I would have to say.
Investing in
Seriously,
Okay. 141. 200 total. He's all in.
Good luck, Colin.
And you call? You know what? Don't give me them lips, alright? I thought you were gonna put in the rest of the 3, to be honest.
No, it won't.
No,
You had a
you
live
straddled.
strategy.
You had live options.
say that. I wasn't even thinking about it. I would keep this bullshit. With 2 out of this.
300.
I'm gonna be nice and shake it down. I'm not gonna be nice. I'm gonna look at my cards though. If I got a king, I'm playing shoving. If I got a king, I'm shoving. I got one. I don't. I'm gonna check.
Okay.
I check. Check. I got a 4. I got an 8. King 4.
King 4.
I had 3 jacks. 3 jacks in my hand. You lost.
Good fold.
I know it. 3 jacks in my hand.
We finally get a little respite from the insanity as we're dealt a $15 bomb pot, ensuring we'll actually get to make it to a flop. We continue the run good, getting dealt the super premium 6-5-3-2 Badoogie and standing pat. The first flop is 10-8-7 with 2 spades, the second flop Jack 9-8 Rainbow. We flop the idiot end of the straight draw, a true money burner in PLO.
This is the second
Jack
board.
of diamonds, nine.
I put out all 6 cards at the same time.
She puts out all 6 cards. All 6 cards.
How you doing?
Hello.
No wonder you moved next to her.
That's why they tip you so well. What's going on around here?
Trey, why are you giving away my secrets?
Look, man.
She says she wants more than just tips.
Yeah, don't hate the hustle.
More than just a tip.
Don't hate the hustle. The cutoff bets the pot of $120, the button shoves for $255, and we have a super easy fold. Well, if you guys are folding, I'm folding. Ooh.
I like it.
I like it even more. There's a lot of different shit out there.
Whatever you can do. Yep. No problem. Great massage. Thank you.
I should have stayed in there.
Ace king up top.
Look at that, I should have stayed.
Couldn't know that time was
Wrong
coming, though.
way and then pocket aces. I would have scooped it.
How you scoop? Ace king.
Ace king and pocket aces.
Job. Ace king.
Or three
He gets
quarters.
3/4.
I had 2 aces, but
We're under the gun, and when in Rome, well, you know how the saying goes. We've gotten involved, and we've straddled the $10. Surprisingly, no one else has restraddled. We're fortunate to look down an ace-ace, king-queen, suited in diamonds to our king. Early position, Ming clicks it to 20. There's one color in the hijack, and now the button tries to get cute, raising to 50. Oh no, sir. No tiny little raises this hand. We announce pot, raising it to 195. Pot.
Enough. 195.
Come on, buddy. You just try to throw the big chips out there. It's too much.
He's trying to be fancy.
The hijack calls and the button calls, and we're going 3 ways to a flop with 260 behind, and there aren't going to be many flops we aren't getting the rest in on. Alright, we got 260 behind. I'm vlogging it. The flop falls 5-4-2 with 2 hearts. I wish it was my ace of hearts suited, but given our stack to pot ratio, the board texture, and our actual hand strength, this is an easy get it in spot. These gamblers won't be pushed around as they both call. The turn is the 3 of hearts and they both check. The river is the 3 of clubs. That looks like a good run out for me, and my opponents reveal their hands. We're up against 9-9, 7-7 suited in diamonds, and Jack-Jack 7-3 with 3 spades. So pre-flop, when we put in close to half our stack, we owed over 51% equity 3 ways. On the flop, when the rest of our stack goes in, we have almost 60% equity, and on the turn, we have close to 70% equity. But unfortunately, the river brings in the miracle 3 to see us get stacked. Sacadilla! See, they enjoy doing this to me. She's laughing at that bullshit river. I have these guys crushed. I have them destroyed. They both have pairs against my aces. Jacks and 7s, they're fucked. They can't win. And she just gives them the 3. All right, Sacadilla! Get her out of here. Get her out of the box. Remedial trading. Go home. It's been straddled to 40. There's one caller, and we're in the cutoff and look down at ace 10, 10-7, suited in clubs to our ace. Our hand will play a lot better if we can narrow the field, so we announce pot, making it 195. I must have forgotten what table I'm at, as the small blind insta-calls, the guy on the $10 straddle calls, the $40 straddle calls, and the early position limper calls. So we're going 5 ways to a flop with $1,000 in the pot, and it comes down 9-6-4 rainbow. The small blind shoves all in for 245, early position cold calls, and when it's on us, we have an overpair to the board, a gut shot draw to the nut straight, and in most normal games with deeper stacks, this would be a fold. But in this wild game, with our remaining stack size of 300 and the pot being almost 1500, we're rolling the dice and we shove it in. Early position calls, and they only want to run it once. The turn is the 3 of clubs, completing the rainbow board, so we don't have to worry about any backdoor flush draws. The river is the Jack of clubs. Early position announces 2 pairs showing down Queen 4, 3-2, suited in hearts to his queen to beat us on the side pot. The smaller stack scoops the main pot after turning over Queen Jack 9, 6, double suited in diamonds and clubs for a better 2 pair. Pre-flop, we had 35% equity against these 2 hands. On the flop, we dropped down to just 24%.
Side pot first, y'all two. 2 pair.
The pair beats me.
34. It's gonna win the side. And then we got Jack 9 gonna win the main.
He always does that. So we are.
The $20 straddle is on. There's 2 callers, and we bump it to 115 in the hijack, holding King, Jack 5 suited in clubs to our king. We're going to win one of these fucking pots. The small blind calls 115, the big blind calls 115, the first limper calls 115, now the second limper shoves all in for 615, and we shove all in for 500 total. The small blind calls, the big blind calls, the original limper calls. There's almost 3,000 in the pot again, and if we can win this goddamn pot, we'll quintuple up our stack. Let's fucking go already. The flop falls Jack 10-9 rainbow, giving us a gut shot straight draw and backdoor clubs. Man, a queen of clubs would sure be a pretty card on the turn.
I would not do that today.
Okay.
I call you next time.
Come on in.
How much you got? Call you next.
15, 17, 18, 1850. 1850.
Okay, Tom.
Alright. Twice is always nice with me, whatever you guys want.
2 cents.
Alright, I have the straight to the king and a king eye flush draw. I still got a straight to the king.
Alright, so we're gonna do the side pot first. What you got? Everything. Let's see yours. Everything.
God damn.
I told you.
I had 2 kings.
Flop that motherfucker. He didn't have that. He
Alright, so Ace King's gonna take this side pot. Alright, this hand's dead. Todd.
flopped it with a rainbow board.
I can't keep losing.
I'm just saying he flopped that thing with a rainbow board.
I got everything.
I get 2 kings and I still lose. Pick up the flush draw, can't get there. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I got 2 kings. Like, I thought the queen was great. I'm like, all right, this is good for me. I got the flush draw. I still can't win. Jesus. Sacadilla! Sacadilla! Okay. We haven't been able to win a single pot at this freaking table, but surely this is our time. The $20 straddle is on, and we look down at ace queen, jack 4, double suited in spades and clubs. A much more coordinated hand than our opponents are playing in this game. There's 1 caller, we come along as well. The cutoff and button call, the small blind calls, the first straddle calls, and the second straddle can't help himself and pots it to 165 with only $35 behind. There's 1 caller, and now we repot knowing these guys are never folding, but maybe, just maybe, we can finally win one of these bingo flips. We're all in for 500. The small blind calls, the second straddle is all in for 200, the early position player calls are all in as well. All right, I gotta win one of these, right? No. I gotta win one of them.
Can I steal your right?
I haven't won one.
I'm about to refill this. No, I mean with this pot.
I haven't won one, so why should you have
The flop comes down pretty decent in 10-6-2 with 2 spades. We flop the nut flush draw and some backdoor straight possibilities.
I'm betting more than 500,
Small mind, that's 500. He's all in, calls. Twice as nice as usual, gentlemen.
He's a one-timer.
Oh, you're a one-timer?
Yeah, he's a one-timer.
Okay, all right, that's what it is. All right, pick me. 5 of hearts.
Alright, time to call. Let's see y'all. He's got a nut straight.
How do I miss the flush again?
Because I had you blocked.
Yeah. It's like the wheel draw on the turn, too. Suckadilla!
How'd you get this one? For sure. And
Hiya!
What is this feeling that's caused them all to laugh? A red line burning down the side of your graph. You feel like you just got robbed. You should have never quit your job. And your lips are trembling, but you can't speak. You're trying, oh, you're trying not to cry. You just got stacked on the felt, my friend. You just got stacked. Yes, it really just happened. Now all your money's gone. Where did everything go so wrong? And you wind up broke. Everyone's laughing and you're the joke. Oh, that hand was whack. The way you just got stacked.
It's a king! That's real! He hit 3 out of 4! He hit 3 out of 4! That's with the worst hand! Why is everyone so happy except Phil?
So this was a painful episode to edit. Fortunately, this happened over a month ago, but I was in for $3,000, out for $0. I originally had bought in for $1,000 at the first table. I moved over to the second table. When I lost that and I saw the insanity that was taking place, I started buying in for $500 at a time. It didn't matter. I mean, if you could win one hand, you could get unstuck real quick in this game, but unfortunately, I didn't win a single hand. It was just 2 hours, I think I lasted, and I just burned right through it. If I could do it all over again, I'd probably buy in for $200 after I busted because of the insane variance in that game. You know, you've got straddles to 80, 160, 320. I'm not rolled for 160, 320. I don't think anyone else in the game is rolled for 160, 320. And at the same time, you've got people there, you're playing 5 or 10 big blind poker. You know, these guys were calling anywhere from $200 to $600 5 or 6 ways pre-flop. So you're going to a flop, there's $1,000 to $3,000 already in the pot. Nobody has any stack depth. Nobody has any room to maneuver. So now you have to commit with weaker hands, and you just have to, it's a game of who can be the luckiest. And it takes away a lot of the skill edge because now you're playing the game that caters to the weaker players, to the degenerates, to the action players, the maniacs. Because now when you're getting it in pre-flop, or you're committing yourself pre-flop, essentially, because you're not folding on the flop given stack size and pot ratio and all that, you know, you've given up your post-flop edge. So now you're taking much thinner edges, and it's going to be a roller coaster. It's going to be a much higher variance, and it can be great when you're winning, but when you can't win a pot, it is absolutely horrific. And, you know, I would much rather be in that game than in the first table I was at. The first table, no action. It was awful. So I'd rather be at the action table, but sometimes there's such a thing as too much action. And when you get enough people that are just going insane and wild, you can't beat the guys who have crazy deep pockets, or, you know, who are just running insanely good against you. So, you know, it made good content. It was fun in some sense producing this video for everyone, but I'd rather not have to lose $3,000 to produce content. I'd rather be winning and producing content for you guys as well. But, you know, I'm going to share the wins. I'm going to share the losses. I'm going to share the heartache and the joy that comes with this. So that's part of it. Thanks to viewer Brandon Mathis, who in my last video mentioned I should swing on by Texas Card House in Dallas. He said the action there is even wilder than the Lodge. Well, what, after you've seen this video, do you still think that, Brandon? Leave me a comment down below. Do you think the action is still crazier in Dallas than it is here at the Lodge? Because this episode was madness. Viewer Corey Creshaw in my previous video had asked, if I could provide data on my hourly rate and how many hours I'm playing. I'm not going to be like Brad Owen. I'm not going to give you the full picture. I'll give you guys a range. My hourly rate is somewhere between $60 to $120 per hour. And it's not going to be at the bottom and it's not going to be at the top. So take that for what you will. I am not putting in a full 40 hours a week. I originally quit my job 3 years ago because I was managing a trucking company. I was working 70 plus hours a week. I had no life outside of work. I was just exhausted all the time, angry. I was taking it home with me and it was affecting my marriage. And my wife said, go play poker. My friend Brian had mentioned he thought I would do well in PLO. I gave it a shot. Here we are. But you know, when you're playing for a living, it's no longer an escape from your work. You know, I remember when I was working for someone else, I would go play a tournament and I wanted to be there 8, 10, 12, 14 hours. You know, that was my escape from work. It was fun. Now that I'm doing it for a living, it's still fun. I still enjoy it. Don't get me wrong, but it definitely loses some of the luster that it had when it was your escape from work. So, you know, when you add that into now I'm vlogging as well, that's a significant time commitment. So I'm putting in 4 sessions a week, but definitely not 40 hours. And then, you know, it takes me a couple of days to edit these videos. So I'm working 6 days a week still. And, you know, there's all the going on social media and promoting the channel and getting it out there as well. So there's a significant time commitment to it when you add in the vlogging also. So, but, you know, I'm very happy with how it's gone, except for this episode. But that's part of it. That's part of the variance that comes with this game. So I appreciate you guys all watching. And don't forget this coming this week, I am going to be down at Rounders Card Club in San Antonio, Texas for their $1.5 million guaranteed series. I'm going to be playing their $1 million main event. It is Hold'em. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. So we'll see how that goes. And I'm arriving Thursday. Yeah, well, we're arriving Thursday. I don't know that I'll be there at the card club on Thursday, but potentially Friday. I'm planning on playing the main event on Saturday. So we're there through the 18th through the 22nd, give or take, something along those lines. So if you're in town, stop on by, say hello, and there's going to be a ton of other vloggers out there. So there'll be plenty of really cool people for you to meet, and the place looks great. So looking forward to that. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next episode.
You know, after watching a video like this, sometimes I'll like it, sometimes I'll leave a comment, and sometimes I'll subscribe. Sometimes I'll even do all 3.